Hello, welcome back, and of course, if you are new to this channel, welcome. In this video, we are going to discuss the map of consciousness from the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins. And basically kind of how this map of consciousness came to be. So to begin, I want to explain that this map of consciousness was derived through lots and lots of research. There were thousands of calibrations made through kinesiology to create this map of consciousness that you will find in this book. If you have not read this book, I do highly recommend it. The book includes a lot of scientific research, a lot of other scientific theories and things like that that kind of help bring the whole idea together. So, of course, it'll make more sense if you read the entire book. This is just going to be a quick overview for you. So let's start with, what is kinesiology? So kinesiology is the study of movements of the body. And the more you break it down, it really is the study of the muscles of your body and how they react to different stimuli. Because in the 1970s, kinesiology was developed by doctors. And then it was shortly after that doctors found that there was weakness in certain muscles corresponding with organs of the body that were ill, that had illness or disease. So obviously that started a whole lot of other researching, and just kind of a big snowball effect happened since the 1970s in the field of kinesiology. So in this book, Power versus Force, Dr. David Hawkins is actually using kinesiology as a way to test the truth and falsehood of many statements, thousands of statements, as well as items. So, you know, if someone is holding artificial vitamin C and they don't know what is inside the envelope or something, their muscles will automatically go weak. And then if someone is holding natural vitamin C, their muscles will automatically go strong. And anyway, there does not even have to be a correlation between what the subject understands about what is being tested. So this is a tried and true method to find literal yes or no answers through the work of kinesiology. So let's go into how Dr. David Hawkins came up with the map of consciousness through kinesiology. The body responds to kinesiologic testing even when the mind is completely naive to the subject being presented to them. And that is because this muscle testing is actually linked to a higher consciousness, seemingly, because it actually knows when it's presented with truth. Your muscles know when they are presented with truth and when they are presented with falsehood. Truth always calibrates as powerful, and falsehood always calibrates as weak. So the map of consciousness that is in this book, Power versus Force, is actually the result of 20 years of research. This 20 years of research included thousands of subjects being tested through this kinesiology method that is outlined in this book. The method actually takes two people, and you know, you can do the testing on each other. I do highly recommend reading the book if you are interested in learning more exactly how the testing is done and also how you can do it at home. But for now, I just want to really focus on the map of consciousness that is within this book. So in the book, you see here a map of consciousness. I'll show you another picture of that here in just a moment. But the map of consciousness was actually created through multiple kinesiologic calibrations made, like I said, by thousands of test subjects with millions of questions that were asked over this course of 20 years to create this map of consciousness. So I am now going to show you a picture of the map of consciousness. Now, in this map of consciousness image that you just saw, you will notice that some of the arrows under the log column are pointing down, and some of the arrows in the log column are pointing up. Now, that is to simply point out if each of the vibrations on this map of consciousness are causing you to go weak or causing you to go strong. You'll notice, I'll show you this one more time, the picture one more time, but you will notice that strength begins at the level 200, which is courage. So any emotional response that you have that is under that on the scale of consciousness is going to make you go weak. And when I say weak, I mean you will weaken your immune system, you will weaken your mind, your willpower. You literally are going weak as a whole in your energy body as well as in your physical body. So always keep your thoughts up above the level 200 that you see in the log column in the image. And I'm going to show you that again right now. Now, also in the book, Power versus Force, there is a very detailed explanation for each of these levels of consciousness. But obviously, we don't have all the time in the world to go over the entire book. So just as an overview, I'll quickly kind of go over it. So you begin at the lower levels of consciousness. Now, those levels are, it's determined, again, through kinesiology, that these emotions and the consciousness that is attached to these emotions actually cause you to go weak. So those items that make you feel weak, those emotions, the levels of consciousness include shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride. Okay? And once you hit pride, you are able to then possibly cultivate the courage to enter the power states. So courage is followed by neutrality, followed by a willingness, followed by acceptance. And then if you continue to raise your consciousness, you'll reach reasoning, love, joy, peace, and finally enlightenment. According to the book, the current level of the consciousness of humanity as a whole has finally reached above the level of 200. So as a whole, humanity's consciousness is in power now, but it wasn't always that way. According to the book also, humanity as a whole was always operating below the level of power for the longest time, but we recently had a jump in our consciousness as a whole. Now, enlightenment is the last on the scale, and that one rates at the number 1,000. That is the end of the scale of consciousness. And enlightenment would represent the Christ or Buddha consciousness level. So obviously you don't see a lot of people at that level of consciousness, but it is good to know that the higher someone rates on the scale of consciousness, the more that they can then counteract the lower vibrations of others, which is why humanity as a whole, it can be, climbing the levels of consciousness even ever so slowly. Because as a whole, we can move up because of great teachers that come into our lives and reach us in such a way that their teaching is still around for thousands of years. So the lesson that I would like for you to learn from this overview of the book, Power versus Force, is that you are in control of your own level of consciousness. So do not get caught up in those lower vibrations. Don't feed into the ego's need to have shame and guilt and fear and anger, but willingly raise your vibration above the level of courage and always remain in your strength. And you will soon see that your life will begin to take a more positive turn as more and more positive things will come into your life because you are changing your consciousness. It's all in your hands. Thank you so much for watching. I'll show the map of consciousness one last time for you. And I hope you have a great day. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to this channel, Meaningful Motivations with Tracey Erickson. It does help me a lot. I'm a growing YouTube channel, still very new. So I would love for you also to share this video with your friends on social media. Hopefully it might resonate with some of them as well. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.